Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Lorelei Shamayo. We run events for coaches, therapists, and other practitioners called Pop Coaching. So popcoaching.org is where you can find us. There are events where there'll be a panel of coaches and therapists and other practitioners that share about themselves, give educational talks, and also do samples of their work in a panel format with questions from the audience. They'll also be available to go into private rooms and do sessions with people. They're often making their work available at a discount. So we interview our practitioners to get a chance to know who they are before you meet them at an event. I'm here today with Barb Ryan. Barb, it's lovely to be with you.
Hi, good to be here.
So what is it that you do? What do you share at our events?
Uh-huh. Well, I have been a counselor since 1986, so for 34 years. And I've been a counselor mostly in the beginning. It was for people who had gone through any kind of trauma, and that includes any kind of grief based on trauma or secondary PTSD. And I was also working with people who identified as queer or variations of that in the queer community, and everything from helping people to come out back in the day to dealing with discrimination to dealing with other issues that might come up. And mostly all the issues that come up for all of us come up for all of us, but different populations of us have different challenges to also look at or get through. So I've increased my sensitivities to working with diversity of people, many kinds of people, different ages, different backgrounds. And I switched to a life coaching and became a happiness coach in about 2013, 2014. And what that meant is that it was more about positive psychology and looking at what we could change in our world, what we could shift in our inner world, in our personal world, and that we really had the power to change how we were thinking, how we were feeling about ourselves. So that's the basics of what I do.
Oh, that's great. Well, so do people come with like particular types of questions or topics? Is it mostly related to happiness in their lives? Like what?
No, people can come with any kind of topic, knowing that I assist them, I help them to shift to um, to learning tools that could increase their happiness, sort of on a happiness scale. And so if someone was in the midst of grief, I would meet them right where they are in their grief, and then look at how grief itself is a process. So I do lots of grief work. And the end of grief work isn't a sense of having joy all the time, but simply having a sense of accepting what has happened and looking for our strengths. And that grief cycles around, and being able to know that simply helps us to feel better about our own personal process with grief.
It sounds like part of what you do is you help people feel deeply.
Yes. Yeah. Feel deeply. And then if a feeling feels stuck, like if fear or grief in their story, in their life, in their past feels stuck somewhere, I help them to shift that or move that so it feels just a little bit better in their mind, in their heart, in their body, in their feelings. But I always meet people right where they are.
I know one thing that's coming to mind as we talk is your book. I don't know if you happen to have your book right there. Thinking I have a copy of it right here, maybe. Let me look. I do. I have your book right here too.
Yes, yes, yes.
Want to share a little about your book?
And so the book, Love Loves Fear, came out of the happiness work that I do. And I help people look at things differently and think about things differently. And so the idea behind Love Loves Fear, I will just give it to you as a spoken word right now. And if you choose to buy the book, you can get it on Amazon in all kinds of ways. And you can get it from my website too, that I'm sure will be posted along with all of this. And the idea is that love, that bigger love, divine love, if you will, just big love, that love loves everything. And if love loves everything, it loves everything, including fear. But fear fears everything, especially love. But love is patient. Love just beams love. So love beams love at the fear. And this scares the fear so much, or the fearful part of us so much, or the fear in others so much, that the fear gets really big and angry and tries to scare the love away. And that just doesn't work, because love is only love, and love just beams love, and love beams love at the fear. So then the fear gets really, really scared of the love and runs away and runs and runs and runs and runs as far and as fast as it can to all four corners of the world. And don't you know that everywhere it goes, there is love. There's love, just being love and beaming love. Well, this scares the fear so much that it gets really, really, really tiny, trying to hide from the love. And what happens is the love surrounds the fear and just embraces it with love, beams love at the fear. And fear, feeling itself surrounded by love, surrenders to that love and becomes part of love. So my philosophy is that love is all there is. And that if we surround any idea or thought in our mind, any issue we're having in the world or with another person, and we look at what's the most loving thought, what's the most loving thing that we can do, it often then reduces our level of fear, and we get to respond in a more thoughtful, loving way.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
I love that everyone that's listening and watching, they essentially get a meditation on love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what I do is help people to use different words in their life and reframe what they're thinking and have it be more positive or more loving, and not in some kind of denial of our true feelings, and not in a way that erases the fear or the sadness or the worry that we're feeling, but simply helps us surround it with love. And so that meditation about love helps to create the setting that if we surround something by love, if we surround a thought within ourselves of I'm not good enough, or I didn't make it to that, or something negative about ourselves, and if we simply surround that thought with love and ask ourselves, what is a more kind, compassionate, and loving way to talk to myself, even about my sadness, my grief, my hard stuff, the realities of what's going on? How can I be gentle and kind when speaking to myself about that? And that begins to change our outlook and how we feel.
Wow. Well, it's so clear that people get huge value from being with you, and will get huge value from being with you online as well as in person.
Thank you.
Well, how can people learn more about you and find you online, and probably find a connection to your book as well?
Right. So at www.guidessofhappiness.com, GUIDESSOFHAPPINESS, Guidess of Happiness. That's what I've been called. On that website, you'll see a page for my book. You'll see a page for the counseling work that I do. You'll see a page for that I also do weddings and funerals and all the different things that I do as the Guidess of Happiness. And on Facebook, you can find me. And you can find me through Spiraling Toward Joy. That's my Facebook business page. I have a Facebook group page that's a hashtag, Spiraling Toward Joy. Or you can just find my name, Barb Ryan, and you'll notice if there's rainbows and all these colors that you've reached the right Barb Ryan.
That's great. Oh, thank you so much. I mentioned too that pop coaching was started with my colleague, Deb Glass. So the two of us are doing this together. She's in Australia and I'm here on the West Coast of the US. So as you look at popcoaching.org, you'll notice that there are events in Australia time zone and US time zone as we're attempting to cross the globe. And so happy that everyone will benefit from experiencing you and your work.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Barb. All right. Yeah. So everyone listening and watching, you find us on Facebook at popcoaching.org. We have lots of different events online. Come be with us.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.